Да-да-да. Раз. Canlı yayın olacağı için siz karar verin Mustafa Bey. Yok, hiç aykırı değil. Ben siz Agropro olarak çünkü sundum ama aynı zamanda İMAŞ'ın Rusya'daki temsilcisi diyeceğim o zaman. Да-да-да, может приглашать. Келді, қонақтар келді. Раз. Уважаемые участники, гости, просим рассаживаться, мы начинаем.
Distinguished participants, please take your seats.
Будет синхронный перевод, поэтому можно прям наушники надевать, когда турецкие спикеры будут. Да, просьба надеть наушники.
Please put your headphones off if you do not understand Turkish. If you speak Bashkir or Tatar, you will be able to understand Turkish, no problem. It's 12 sharp, and I suggest we start. I can see that all the speakers are here, and we have our audience, so with your permission, I would like to start. I'm happy to greet you at this session about Russian-Turkish relations, and we would like to discuss not just Russian-Turkish relations, but Russian-Turkish partnership and cooperation within agricultural complex. And I would like to introduce myself. I'm Marat Tansikuzhin. I represent the Republic of Bashkortostan at the representative office in the Republic of Turkey, and it's great to be here in Bashkortostan, in the heart of Eurasia, because I hail from one of the regions of Trans-Euralia, and I was born and I studied in this region, so it's very important for me, and I'm very excited to be here. I would like to start with some numbers, so that all of us understand how important the issues are that we've been discussing here. The year 2022, the trade exchange grew by 24% between Turkey and Russia, and the agricultural complex is the largest growing. Turkey has become the leader in terms of buying agricultural products of Russia, and it is better doing than China. 12 million tons of agricultural produce has been bought to the sum of $4.3 billion. Turkey is one of top 30 importers of agricultural products, and Russia is the largest exporter of food into that country. Turkey is one of the largest importers of agricultural products on the one hand, but one of the largest exporters as well, including wheat flour, and we will talk about that as well. Besides, Turkey is very good in food processing, machinery, honey production, so our economies are complementary. And one of the ministers will give us details about the potential of our region. We will talk about that. And before introducing our speakers, I would like to express our gratitude to our Turkish friends. They have covered a huge distance to be here with us, and there are political processes underway in Turkey right now, very dramatic ones, but despite these events, our Turkish guests are here, and I'm very thankful for them for that. And right now we have Mr. Fazdrahmanov, the Deputy Prime Minister of Bashkortostan and the Minister of Agriculture of Bashkortostan. Then we have Mehmet Erdogan, an entrepreneur.
Mustafa
Özkılıç, representative of a Turkish company and the director of business development of Agropro company. Zhanabay Balabayev, the director of business partner company. Then we have online Varvara Makeyeva, the head of regional ethics of the Federal Center of Development of Cooperation, and we have Mr. Safin, and we have Ibrahim Turuk, the head of Association of Seed Producers, and we have translation online. We have an audience in Turkey, in Russia, and I would like to pass the floor for the greeting address to the Vice Prime Minister of Bashkortostan and the Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Fazdrahmanov. Thank you very much, dear friends, dear colleagues. As they say, everything is for the better. Within the last 6, 7, 8 years, the Republic of Bashkortostan aims at implementing high-tech and creates holdings and corporations both in Bashkortostan, and today, despite the very pressing sanctions regime, all we've been doing within recent years made us stronger. We are becoming much stronger, much more efficient, and it allows us to manufacture more production by factor of 1.5, and of course we need markets to sell those products, and the potential of our republic is huge in terms of producing agricultural products. We can increase it by a factor of 2 or 3, and who are our partners? Who do we work with? Who do we have long-term cooperation with? Up until very recently, up until the past year, we used to work with the countries of the European Union, and we've taken a lot of technologies from them, a lot of competencies, gene materials, agricultural equipment, machinery. We still have some relations with them, but we use our friends in Turkey, in Kazakhstan, and we are not quite satisfied with this cooperation. And right now we've been developing further cooperation with Belarus. Next week we are going to Belagro. We have long-term cooperation with them, and we have opened doors for China. They are a large consumer. We spent a week in Shanghai, and some of my colleagues here have visited China, and we have our Turkish friends over here, and we need long-term contracts. We need partners together with the Russian business, Bashkir business, Turkish business. I would like to repeat it once again. We are interested in long-term cooperation. In terms of development, the head of our republic requires us to work out a strategy, the so-called agricultural breakthrough 2030. That is bringing Bashkortostan companies to the international markets. For example, today we are signing a contract for 25 billion rubles, and this company opens up its representative office in China, and it will be buying food for pigs and will be buying equipment for pig farms, and we will be using our expertise, our food, our equipment. We will be working over there, and I think that's a very good example of long-term cooperation. And of course, we would like to build the same kind of thing with Turkey, not just selling grain to Turkey or milling grain, buying grain, then milling it, and then selling flour from Turkey to other countries. That's short-term. We would like to have it long-term, and we would like to do everything for our farmers so that the prices for our farmers would be quite comfortable. We can do that. And we can also speak about the multipolar world, and Russia is at the cutting edge. And of course, we will prevail in this situation, and we became the nation, the country which is very instrumental in building this multipolar world. So I would like to call you to further cooperation, long-term cooperation in this new multipolar world. And please help us, help our companies, please help each other to work and make profit and create and manufacture very good, high-quality products. And the final word I would like to add, I read yesterday that in the year 2100, 1/3 of the surface of the Earth will not be inhabitable, and I think that Russia is going to become one of the largest food producers, and that's what we would like to think about. Thank you. In your presentation, you set a very good pace for our session, and I would like to remind all our speakers about our schedule. We have 10-12 minutes for everyone, and I would like you to keep to the schedule. We will be talking about agriculture a lot today, but the key issue for us, and it has been mentioned already, we cover the internal market, and for us it's very important to discuss export, and Turkey plays a special role over here because we've been selling more and more products to Turkey, and Turkey is becoming a key hub for further re-export to the countries of the Middle East, Northern Africa, Europe, and Turkey has a very constructive position in the grain bargain, the so-called grain corridor in the Black Sea. And I would like to ask the question to our online speaker, Varvara Alexandrovna. Can you hear us? Yes, I can hear you.
Очень хорошо. Скажите, пожалуйста, вот каким вам видится дальнейший...
How do you see the further potential of growth of trade between Turkey and Russia in terms of agricultural products? What groups of products should we pay attention to? I prepared a separate slide about that. So can you put your presentation on? put my presentation on and I will try to answer your questions. I've got special slide addressing that. Dear colleagues, thank you for this opportunity to speak, and I'm sorry that I'm only online. Can I have the next slide, please? Before answering your question, I would like to say a couple of words about the development of the Russian agricultural sector on the whole. Russia today is one of the top 20 producers and demonstrates the growth from the 47th place to 18th place according to specific foodstuffs, and we're the first in terms of wheat, the second in sunflower seed oil, third in barley, and as you can see, Turkey is the second among our clients, and China goes first if we take into consideration fish sold. On the whole, for Russia, as it has been mentioned, further development of export will go through the increased supplies to friendly markets, and we see huge potential within China, of course. But Middle Asia, Central Asia, Persian Gulf, Africa, India are also among other markets, and Bashkortostan enterprises are oriented at these markets. These markets are very important for our republic. And the export to Turkey, next slide please. The trade increased by 20%, and it's almost $7.5 billion. And Russian export, agricultural export, is 2/3. Russia is the key exporter to Turkey, taking almost 1/4 of the market, 24% of the market. There is also Ukraine, Brazil, Malaysia. And can we have the next slide, please? Within the last 3 years, our export increased. It's more than $5 billion. And our major products are wheat, sunflower seed oil, maize. Next slide, please. The agrarian products are sent to Turkey from 47 subjects of the Russian Federation, and the key partners are Rostov Oblast, Moscow, Krasnodar Krai, and Bashkortostan is 11th among the regions of Russia. Next slide, please. As for further development of our export to Turkey, that was the main question to me. By the year 2030, exports is going to grow by 1 billion and will be more than $6 billion. Our calculations say that the most promising products to be sold to Turkey are grain, sunflower seed oil, maize, the lentils, and other food products. Next slide, please. Development of export to Turkey is supported not only by the existing exporters, but also by creating new exporting lines. According to our data, by the beginning of this year, there are 25 export-oriented investment projects which are oriented at different markets, including Turkey. And they're planning to increase export. That is again grain, oils, food, dairy, and deep processing and food stuff. And the next slide, please. Regional aspect. We know that the implementation of what we have here depends a lot on the regions. Our regions can develop their exporting potential. At the moment, only 10 regions provide for 70% of the Russian market, and the Republic of Bashkortostan is a very important subject of the Russian Federation in terms of developing export. Within the last 5 years, the export grew 4 times. Bashkortostan is one of the leading producers of dairy products, sugar, seeds. Next slide, please. Nevertheless, huge volume from Bashkortostan is sent to the so-called non-friendly countries, and we've been considering alternative directions for our products to increase stability of our relations. And we can see a huge potential of selling oil and flax seeds to China, to Turkey, to Arabic countries, and we think we are going to be helpful to those countries in this respect. To implement this export potential and to increase the competitiveness of our enterprises, the state created supporting structures which envisages supporting on all stages of a life cycle, from creating a product to promoting and selling the product. And there is this federal site which has a platform where you can have a very detailed information and look at the schemes, how you can receive support, what are the requirements for receiving this support, and you can receive answers to your questions. And the federal center where I work, a lot of attention is paid to promoting, to selling these products at the promising markets. Can we have the next slide, please? We conduct business missions and events. More than 50 of them we have conducted recently, including our meetings in Turkey last year. About 7,000 representatives of different companies take part in these exercises, and you can have all this information on our platform, on our site. So please participate in that and invite export-oriented companies for participation. Besides, our federal center develops a library for exporters where you can find more than 200 materials about agricultural exports. We work out a concept of promoting these products on different markets, and you can have reviews over there, and we can create specific products, tailor-made products for specific companies. And thank you very much for this opportunity to present our center. I hope I answered your question. Thank you very much for very informative presentation. A lot of useful information has been given, and we can make the conclusion that within the context of Russian-Turkish relations, our enterprises from Bashkortostan, right now we are on the 11th place, as you said, so we've got a lot to do, and we have this supporting infrastructure, regional ones, for example, the representative office of Bashkortostan in the Republic of Turkey. And I would like to remind our participants that Turkey has a representative in the field of agriculture, and I can give you the contacts on the level of the embassy and the consulate, and I can give you the contacts of these institutions which are ready to promote agricultural products. And as we have discussed export, I would like to remind our participants that within the last 3 years there has been an office of the Russian Exporting Center working in Turkey. And right now we have Timur Safin online, representative of that center Can you hear us? Can you see us? Good afternoon. I hope you can see me.
Тимур, скажи, пожалуйста, вот
Please tell us. You have to cooperate with different exporters within the framework of your activities, including the producers of agricultural products. Could you share it with our participants of our forum? What are the peculiarities of entering the Turkish market? What should you pay attention to? How do you support our exporters? What instruments do you have when we speak about the agricultural complex?
Of course. First of all, in addition to your words, the Russian and Turkish partnership is conducted at a high level, especially in the territory of the Republic of Bashkortostan and Kazakhstan, because you have the supporting centers. And of course, Murat, for you and for your efforts, that's why I'd like to thank you for such way of work. As for the Republic, firstly, I would like to mention that Turkey is processing the products and then supply it to other countries, but it imports mostly the products from agricultural complex from Russian Federation. We also have high competition in Turkey because of the agreement on trade with European Union included. In these terms, most of the products have no taxes on entering, or they are somewhere around zero. As for food industry, I could say that here we can be highly competitive and have the same level. From time to time, there are also additional import taxes, which were launched in 2020, which are connected with pricing, also connected with food industry. We also have 80% tax, T1. It is the tax connected to food industry enterprises, which changes taking into consideration the type of product, for example, sugar. Previously, there was also the additional import tax from 10 to 12%. In 2020, they decided to cancel this limit, and now it turns back. It's all about your position. For example, for wheat, the import was 20% tax. Previously, up to December, it was 0% because it's strategically valuable product. From the 1st of May 2023, in order to support local domestic producers for crops and wheat, it became 30% for import, excluding transit and custom processing. And still this limit exists. Though, considering the further changes and how to enter Turkish market, first of all, you need to take part into international consulting. We conduct webinars on different topics, including one of them was about food industry when we invite Turkish experts, for instance, importers, trade representatives, or directly the heads of unions and associations. Further, as representatives of Russian Expert Center, we also conduct search for international investors. We have a data about the Turkish partners, in addition to the services we provide by our company. I'd like to stress that for Turkish exporters, we also search for Russian supplier. The bigger our database on the suppliers, it would be easier to conduct the partnership and come to the contract. further. Entering Turkish market became simpler because we have the region in industrial complex in Istanbul. It's the company Diva Export, which interacts with Turkish importers and distributors on food industry. So you can send an application, present your product. There are also marketing companies to promote our food products in Turkish market. Sometimes Turkish people are very hard to start something new and to try new products. That's why we need to help them. On the basis of our Russian center, we also have a guide on entering Turkish market where you can see the tools and contacts of future partners. And companies can also use B2B and B2C platforms and the selection at the marketplace. You show your product, you present it, and then there would be a direct search and selection for you. In addition, the Republic of Bashkortostan is one of the active areas representatives. We have already implemented a pilot project with Bashkortostan where the platform where Russian exporters can place their products and Turkish investors can evaluate it and place the offer. We also have the interaction with agricultural attaché. I'd like to mention that the Office of Representatives is on the place of Trade Representative Office in Turkey, and we provide the overall support for Russian exporters in Turkish market. We are ready to answer your questions, solve your issues, and supervise. The only thing you need is a wish to do the export. Thank you very much. On my behalf, I can only support your idea and agree with you, because we feel, and our industries, enterprises also feel the support of the Russian Export Center and its representatives in Turkey. Because we, being representative office too, feel it. Thank you very much for your speech. We need to go further. So right now, we had a speech of the representatives of the state support. And of course, we would like to have a vice versa case. When our company enters the foreign market, it's one thing, but sometimes it's also attractive to see how Turkish business enters our market and launches it here, trying to operate further. One of the examples is MedPay.
Şimdi ben Türkçe konuşacağım biraz.
Right now there would be a Turkish speech and we'll translate it into Russian and English. As I know, previously MedPay worked for quite long with the products from Bashkortostan and supply to Turkey. There are a lot of people who watch us online from Turkey and they would like to see the successful cases, how to work with Russia, how Turkish entrepreneurship can collaborate with Russia, especially in the sphere of agricultural industries. What do you see? What can we do in order to activate, to promote the role of Bashkortostan suppliers in Turkish economy? Since 2017, we actively supply to Turkey, Germany, and many other countries, up to the USA, our products from agricultural cluster. And our honorable representative is here. They provide a substantial support each year, so we have no problems with that. Up to the last year, there were no such problems with financing, supply of the products. They occurred only since 2022 on bank channels, logistic hubs. Right now, the rubles as the main currency of purchases and main currency of contracts becomes more and more popular. Just because we cannot conduct it in any other currencies before, right now we have the accounts in Turkish bank and liras and in Russian banks in rubles, so you can use the national currency. I work not only with Bashkortostan, of course, I also work with Krasnodar, Rostov region, and we supply buckwheat, wheat, crops. But I'd like to mention that here you have more support and more opportunities in Bashkortostan than in other regions. Of course, in other regions there are more bureaucratical problems, and mostly it is connected with bureaucracy procedures, the documentation. So if you'd like to supply more products of Bashkortostan, of course you need to mend the logistic hubs because you have to use lorries, and it's very difficult right now because, you know, as their circulation and their load is quite high, it takes some time. If there is any opportunity to speed up the supply from Bashkortostan, maybe some logistic shipment center, not only for agricultural products, but also for processed products from wheat. That would be profitable to create a special center. We have an elevator on the north of the Republic where we ship our products and send to Azov Sea and then transfer it to Turkey. It will create or simplify the logistics scheme. Of course, the volume of supply would be higher. Right now, we need to go through Samara, Volga, up to Caspian, then crossing the border from Caucasus and then to Turkey. It's quite a complicated scheme, of course. We need to find a solution. I'd like to advise the Turkish businessmen to enter this market because all the representatives of the Republic of Bashkortostan do their best to solve all the issues as fast as they can. Thank you very much. You have mentioned which support is provided by the state of Bashkortostan and developing your business with Turkey. Which problems do you face? I'd like to mention that all the ideas which will be announced here, I'd like them to be fixed and then send it to our participants and the Ministry of Agriculture, which we can further use and discuss in the practical course. Now I would like to listen to the Turkish speaker. I'd like to give the floor to our next speaker. Our colleagues mentioned that Janabai Balabayev also has a lot of experience in this topic. We understand that we have a lot of complications in agricultural cluster and supply. We'd like to listen to your ideas, offers. So,
good afternoon, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for this opportunity to participate in this forum. In the beginning, I would like to start with discussing what a business partner is. It's not the top 5, it's not the hugest exporters like Demeter, Reef, Asen. Our business partner is a medium-sized business. They have, for example, 240 carloads. They have their own laboratories, for example, 30 tanks. They can assess the quality of their wheat. And when we discuss export and difficulties we have, Mehmet Bey has said that the major thing is the supply chain, and of course that is the Black Sea if we talk about Turkey, and our major bottleneck is logistics. When we have to ship it to Turkey, the bottleneck is having proper number of railroad cars, and loading the railroad cars is very difficult, and it used to be much faster, but there is yet another thing which can pop up. That is the custom duties, which are defined for a week, and if we gather a load of wheat and then we ship them through the railroads, and then we go to port, and within this time the customs duties change several times, and it can make our trade unviable. We had a meeting at Sochi and we discussed all these problems, and I would not keep repeating. Mehmet Bey expressed his gratitude for the support, and the minister of Tatarstan is a very humane person. When you fall ill, for example, he can give you a ring, he can ask about your health. We have much worse experience of working with other ministers and other ministries in Samara region and other oblasts, and we understand that our domestic market is pretty passive. There is a lot of wheat left from the previous year, and we have to modernize our elevators, we have to modernize our equipment so that we could transport directly to the railroads. And our geographic location of Bashkortostan and Orenburg region, it's very complicated to calculate all the logistics to the Black Sea, and there were subsidies about 1.7 thousand rubles per ton of wheat, a federal subsidy, and for us it's not viable. $25 per ton would be great for us for organizing all the logistics. Thank you very much. You've been very detailed, and you touched upon the sore points in our things. And can we increase our grain production? Can we enlarge our elevators? We have Mustafa Bey over here. Well, we have already discussed all these things, and we already started working in this direction. So this year they would like to build a lot of grain sites in Bashkortostan, and materials grow up in prices. Once again, thank you very much for your presentation. And there was this interesting thought, is that there is a lot of potential for medium-sized business, not for large business. And there is an interesting detail over here. In Turkey, small and medium-sized business is very developed. 80–85% of Turkish GDP is produced by medium-sized and small-sized business. And I think that we have a huge potential over here, because it's much easier for medium-sized businesses or small businesses to discuss things between themselves. Besides, when the large business collapses, that is a huge loss, and it's terrible for everyone. But when a medium-sized business collapses, they are very fit, and they can get back on their feet pretty soon. And when we discuss agricultural complex and the huge tempo of its development, we think about processing and deep processing of grain. And our Turkish partners have accumulated a lot of competencies in food processing and food production. And we have Mustafa Bey over here. He has a lot of experience in manufacturing equipment and in terms of food processing. And I would like to ask a question to him. You know the agricultural sector of Russia very well, and you know the potential and the difficulties and the problems for the Russian Federation. And as a representative of Turkish business circles, how do you assess the opportunity of processing food on the territory of the Russian Federation and exporting ready-made food stuff to Turkey so that we sell you ready-made products rather than grain? We're happy to be here and thank you for this honor to represent our country here. I present Imash company. We make karma flour and we make equipment for grain elevators. We send our products to different countries, and we are going to sell equipment to Bashkortostan, and we are going to implement our projects. We hope to be able to do so by the end of the year. That will be a technology transfer. When we start working here, you will be able to say made in Bashkortostan rather than made in Turkey concerning our products. We know the quality of grain produced here in Bashkortostan, and we can calculate things. We can assess where to ship this grain to. And there is a lot of grain by fourth, fifth quality, and there is a large amount of third-degree quality grain. So when Marat Bey said that we can process stuff over here and maybe sell fructose, maltose, or alcohols, bioethanol, all this can be done over here, and this ready-made products can be done over here. Lysine can be a product not only of agricultural sector, you can use it also in textile industry and in using building materials, including cellulose. So you can use these materials on the industrial scale, and then products from Bashkortostan will reach dramatically new levels, and the grain of the fourth and fifth class will have a very huge added value and will be sold at larger prices internationally. And up until last year, Cargill company, for example, an American company, was dealing with that, but they had to leave the Russian market, and now you have to be self-sufficient. Turkey has gone through this process, and we went through it after the Cyprus operation. Back in the 1970s, we had all those sanctions aimed at us, and we had to become self-sufficient. The same concerns Russia. You will be able to do that, and you will learn all these technologies. And this deep processing of grain, of course, should be localized on the territory of the Russian Federation, on the territory of Bashkortostan and other regions. And the grain of the fourth, fifth grade can be processed here into crackers, biscuits, pastry. First, you can sell it to your neighboring regions, and then to neighboring countries, and then you can go to the markets of friendly countries. You can start producing cold dough from the grain of the fourth, fifth category. You can make it here and then sell dough to other countries. For example, we sell dough and pies to Canada, to the United States for millions of dollars. So you have to develop similar projects here in Bashkortostan so that grain products can be sold not only in agricultural sphere but also in other industries like textile industry. Turkey has lots of opportunities to sell our products because we have access to 3 seas, but it is also an opening for you because via Turkey you can reach international markets and you can use special economic zones. You can open up your companies in Turkey where you will be exempt from all taxes and you can make your product made in Turkey. You can convert your products. There are certain procedures to make your product made in Turkey, and then you can sell it throughout the world. When you send those products to free economic zones, you don't have problems with logistics, with country of origin. You can sell it anywhere. For example, Imash, our company, sells our products to 110 clients all over the world, and our mills are installed in these countries. And we, for example, the companies which establish those mills over there, we can send them to Russia so that they cooperate with you directly, so that you can sell your product to those companies directly. And coming back to the problem of logistics, for example, right now we send sunflower seed oil to Turkey. It takes 45-50 days to transport this oil to Turkey. But if you send ready-made final product rather than grain into Turkey, and if you send it to Turkey and then repackage on the free economic zone in Turkey somewhere and send it further to Africa, to other continents, then you will be a Turkish supplier. You will get rid of the embargo which works against the Russian Federation. There is only this banking problem. For example, you won't be able to open up a banking account in Senegal directly, but if you are a Turkish company acting within the free economic zone, then you can give a letter of credit to any country in the world, and it will speed up your entrance to the world market and will simplify many procedures you are facing now. And one more important problem I would like to discuss over here. We have to speed up. Right now, lots of banking issues and logistics issues are very complicated. We should speed it up. We should do it much faster. Thank you very much. And right now, for a citizen of Russia, for a Russian resident, is it possible to open a company in the free economic zone in Turkey? Will it be considered a Turkish company or will it be considered a Russian company with?
Türkiye'de şirket kurabilir, %100 kendisinin olabilir.
100%. You can set up your own company or a company with Russian capital. But if it is created in Turkey, that will be a Turkish company. Nobody will try to find out where your capital goes from. Over here, if we set up a company over here, it will be a Russian company, although it is owned, for example, by the Turks. So if you open up a company in Turkey, for example, a Russian citizen opens up a company, the major problem is that Turkish banks may not open up a banking account. It's very easy to open up a company, But opening an account in a Turkish bank, it's a bit more complicated because the banks are controlled by the World Bank. There are 2 or 3 banks in Turkey where you can open up your banking accounts. And we've had a lot of problems in this area, so the majority of Russian companies concentrated within those 2-3 state banks of Turkey, which provide these services to Russian companies. And until the elections, the situation will not change. Right now, lots of Turkish companies are afraid of doing that. And after the elections, we will have the elections, like very soon, the situation will change, and we should speed up the process of establishing Russian companies in Turkey. You may want to add a Turkish citizen into the board of directors, or you can include Turkish capital to speed up your entering the world markets. Besides, there can be a letter of credit. For example, you can entrust, you can give a letter of attorney to a Turkish citizen to open up a company for you, and he can go to a bank in Turkey. And if you work in a free economic zone, you will be exempt from taxes. So our task, as I see it, is to speed up the entrance of Bashkortostan companies to international markets. I'm not speaking as a Turk right now. I've been working in Bashkortostan, so I'm speaking here as a dweller of Bashkortostan. It's necessary, of course, to open up Turkish companies, but Bashkortostan companies should be much more represented in Turkey. I have no problem working in Turkey because I'm the citizen of Turkey, but if I work through a Russian company, there are certain problems, and we've been waiting for the elections, and if the elections, God forbid, go not as we expected, and I hope that after these elections, after Sunday, everything will be all right. I think your business cards will be taken. Many people would like to take them. Our friend Janabai, for example, is not going to sell grain and would like to install mill over there and will sell grain, not grain, but flour in Turkey in big bands, and will sell as a Turkish company, for example, to Africa. Right? There are 2 ways. If you bring big bags, you can leave them in the free economic zones and then repackage into bags like 10, 15 kilograms, and 0.001% of some additives are added, of Turkish additives, and that will be a Turkish product, final product. So a Russian company can bring it to the territory of Turkey, then add some vitamin or something and sell it further as a Turkish product. Banks can ask you for documents about the country of origin, but as you have repackaged it in Turkey, then the country of origin will be Turkish. You kind of modify this product with very insignificant additives, and you can sell it as a Turkish product. There will be no claim that it is a Russian product. Or you can get a letter of credit as Russian product. Besides, in the free economic zones, the taxation is very different. It's very comfortable over there. Well, we can discuss which additives we can add to, but we can discuss that. So right now, buckwheat we sell from Bashkortostan, and it goes directly to Turkey, so that you sell, Janabai, if you do not sell grain, but you sell flour. Is it possible? Yes, we've been considering such a project. How can we do that? Right now we have this custom duties, 15,000 rubles, and right now it's 17, so that is 3,000–4,000 rubles per ton, which is $40–50 per ton. That is a lot of money. But if you export grain, then there is no custom duties. And then our grain, well, our flour made of that grain becomes competitive. And we can sell it to Central Asia and Kazakhstan. We cannot sell grain there because Russia has sold a lot of flour, and the Russian flour is cheaper over there rather than the grain because of this prohibitive tariffs, prohibitive customs duties. So if our business community lobbies in this direction, if we have some signals that this custom duties will work for about 4 or 5 years, because of course we can install, for example, Turkish mills, and we can think of logistics, and we should think about this break-even period, because right now we cannot even think of this break-even period because of these customs duties. When they are installed and they taken away, in Turkey we have been discussing that from the 1st of June Russia is going to increase or decrease those custom duties, and everybody is waiting for the 1st of June. We say we use it as an excuse that we have elections, but on the other hand, everybody expects that all custom duties will be taken away by the Russian Federation. So what do you think? Is it going to happen or not? Well, this is an interesting thing. And yet we still have yet another speaker, also a very interesting one. When we discuss successes in our agriculture, this is the bare necessity of life. And when Russia uses foreign components, when, for example, we use foreign-produced seeds, and there is this dependence on foreign seeds. And it's important to develop seed production. That's a matter of food security of our country, and not only of our country. We have Ibrahim Turok from Trachea in the center of Turkish seed production.
İbrahim Bey.
Merhabalar, kolay gelsin.
Sağ olun. Sağ olun, sağ olun. İbrahim Bey,
Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everybody. I can hear you precisely. In my introductory part, I told that we need to make it safe to produce the seeds and how to cooperate in the framework of sanctions and the seed production. What can we do together with Turkey? First of all, I wish everybody to have this forum as the most profitable part for you to be successful, to find the ways, just because the question of our future and our safety is quite burning. I listen to you, and everyone is talking about the supply of seed products, and flour is increasing in Russia, and also Turkey is partner number 1 in purchasing agricultural products and flour. Of course, in order to make it successful, you should be a successful player on the market of seed products. If you cannot receive the seeds successfully as the products, you will also lose the quality of the supplied product. That's why I believe that we can conduct the partnership in this direction with Russia. For example, one of the biggest successes for Turkey is what they have a large bank of seeds, which is quite popular in the market, and our products are of high quality. Since 60s, we worked with the Soviet Union and the supply of seed products. But after a while, it was getting thinner and thinner. That time I was a student, and Russia was quite competitive in the question of, for example, facilities and machinery with Europe. But right now, the world is quite banned,
Kullanılıyor.
and they have the international standards for the seeds. They need to find a place, the supplier.
Firması yok ya da yok denecek kadar.
In Russia, as I know, there is no international banking of international seed bank, which can be used in accordance with international standards, and they have to purchase it from other countries. As for Turkey, we can buy it everywhere and then supply it to the Russian Federation. Before the special operation, we had no opportunity to supply Russian market with it because of the limitations we had. All that global farms, international farms of seeds, which are operating since the 80s,
Bakıyorlar.
and they meet the international standards, so we can supply these products to Russia.
Bu işi öğrendik.
We also, due to the fact that we are working since early times with these companies, we have a lot of laboratories where we produce the seeds in accordance with the standards, so we can provide our own products, not those which were imported from other countries to the territory of Turkey. And we appreciate the fact that Murat contacted us, and he's developing the supply of the Turkish seeds to Russia because we meet all the international standards. And right now, we have an open window in Russian Federation for Turkey in the issue of seed production.
%70'i de Rusya'ya
70% of seeds
ama şöyle söyleyeyim.
produced in Turkey are supplied to Russian markets.
Biz şu anda
The Center of Genetics and Research in the sphere of seed production is open for Russian representatives, and we are ready to show our abilities. We meet all the requirements internationally on the production of seeds, and 6 companies which have their laboratories and who produce the seeds are ready to take part in the collaboration with Russia and supply their products and open laboratories on the territory of Bashkortostan. If there is an ability to make a joint company
hem bürokrasi
for
yapabiliriz hem de
the supply of seeds and development of these seeds in Bashkortostan, we can supply to the whole Russia from this point. We are ready for experiments, and we want to develop this direction. I'd like to attract the attention of the authorities that the question of seeds is a strategically valued issue, and we as
başlayalım.
suppliers are ready to work with you, to collaborate with you, and how can we make the first step in this direction right now?
Gerçekten de sizinle ve dernek
Thank you very much for such offers.
ve işbirliğimiz oluştu. Evet, bir takım neden
We truly have
ama ben
a direct contact with you as suppliers, and right now
davet etmek istiyoruz.
I'm ready
Sizinle
to invite you and your 6 companies of your association for cooperation, because it's truly a strategically important question for the development of Bashkortostan too. Thank you very much. With great pleasure, We're ready to have this partnership, but we have a limitation of the seed supply to Bashkortostan. It is done from the strategical point of view, and we are ready to create the conjoined categories. We'd like to invite you to take part in 3 events where you will have an ability to see the fields, to see the seeds, and get acquainted with our researchers and products.
Да, ну действительно мы с Ибрагимбеем правда обсуждали планы.
We have already discussed our plans. I'd like to open up this topic a bit. We have the idea to create, together with the Bashkir partners, the seed cluster, which could operate and produce the products for the whole country and develop the export of seeds.
У нас, в принципе, завершилось
Though we have finished the speeches of most of the speakers, so we have 10-15 minutes for questions.
уважаемые участники, если у вас есть
So distinguished participants, if you have any questions to our speakers, you're welcomed to ask. I believe that they will answer with great pleasure. We have some time.
Уважаемые гости,
Dear colleagues, dear guests,
слышать
it was a great pleasure to listen to your ideas
приятно понять,
and to understand that our direction we follow
что Турция
confirms that our Turkish guests are ready to cooperate.
Марат Закиевичу
And with the help of Marat Zakij and other people,
мы хотели бы
we would like to open
особый экономический зон,
a special economic zone for Turkey, an enterprise to process the product we produce here. We produce sublimated milk, cow milk. We have sent several
который изучил
loads to Turkish laboratories, which made the research and estimated it as a unique product where 80% of the essence are the elements which provide
организма, особенно
renovation of body cells, work with oncology and lungs issues. So sending this cow milk, processed cow milk,
виды продукции.
we would like to process it into other products, make drinks, or maybe pack it, make it
Поэтому
into powder.
окончание
So I hope that at the end of this meeting, we would like to have
можно было
a discussion in which economic zone is it possible to open our enterprise.
Я думаю, да,
I believe that
знаешь, наши панельные дискуссии можно
after our discussion, you'll have an opportunity to contact the representatives. I know that Mustafa has a lot of interesting ideas which could help us to enter not only Turkish market but also the market of the third countries.
спикеры интересные, да.
Are there any other questions? Because we have interesting speakers and a lot of essential ideas. Please don't be shy, ask the questions. You're welcome. Good afternoon, dear guests. I have kind of tricky question. Aren't you a relative of a famous person from Turkey? Of course, we wish you health and the health of your president too, and success. It is the most popular question when it comes to Russia, especially at customer service. Everyone is asking this question. No, of course. It's quite a popular surname like Ivanov in Russia. That's why, for example, I'm from southern region and he is from the Black Sea region. So we have a great distance between us, so we have no ties, no family ties.
Так, есть ли вопросы, уважаемые участники?
Are there any other questions?
Тогда наверное, будем завершать.
Okay, maybe we will make the conclusion of our discussion. On behalf of mine, I'd like to thank everyone because it was quite fruitful to listen to our speakers, the representatives, and everyone who joined us online. We have a lot to think about and to discuss. Thank you for your attention and participation.